Once upon a time there was a young princess who was cute as a button. She was named Snow White because her skin was white as snow, her lips as red as blood, and her hair as black as ebony. She lived with her father and her evil stepmother. Her stepmother was regarded as evil because she hated Snow White while everyone else loved her. In order to show just how evil she was, she made Snow White live as a maid in the castle. The evil stepmother had a magic mirror that she would ask who was the most beautiful chick in the kingdom, and every time the mirror would answer that she was. Until one day, some years later, the queen returned to her mirror and once again asked who the fairest one of all was. The mirror replied,
"Well, you used to be, but now you're kind of old, and Snow White, man, she is super mega foxy, awesome hot. Definitely the most stacked chick this side of the kingdom."
And the queen was infuriated, so she called forth a hunter at once. She told the hunter that he must take Snow White into the forest and kill her dead, cut out her heart, and bring it to the queen as proof. So the hunter took Snow White into the forest, but when he tried to kill her, he thought she was so damn hot that he just couldn't do it. So he told her to run away, and he got the heart of a pig instead. Snow White wandered around the forest aimlessly, looking for somewhere to stay. Then she happened upon a cottage that was absolutely filthy. There were unwashed dishes in the sink, the floors were caked with mud, and none of the beds were made. Snow White knew that there must be several dudes living inside, so she thought that they might let her stay with them if she became their maid, which would obviously be so much better than being a maid in the castle. So she whistled, and all of a sudden a stampede of wild animals came into the little cottage and helped her clean everything. They washed the dishes, swept the floors, and made the beds, all without thumbs. After all of this cleaning, Snow White decided that she was very tired and fell asleep in one of the many beds. As she slept, the owners of the house came home to find the little cottage completely spotless. At first they assumed that a burglar had broken in, but when they realized that nothing was taken, they went upstairs to investigate. One of them found this super hot chick asleep in their beds, and upon waking up, Snow White introduced herself, and all of the dwarves were completely smitten with her. They agreed to let her stay in their cottage only when they found out that she could cook, so she was basically hired as their maid. By this time, the queen thought that she was the hottest chick around again, so she returned to her mirror to get his approval. But he dropped the bomb on her that Snow White wasn't dead at all. Rather, she was alive and kicking, living it up in the forest with a bunch of strange little men with adjectives for names. Obviously, the queen was pissed, so she did what any evil villain would do. She conjured up a potion that would turn her into an old hag, dropped up another potion to make an apple poisonous, and then went to pay Snow White a visit. This would have been a great idea to get rid of Snow White forever, by giving her a poisoned apple that would kill her. Except for the fact that the poison wouldn't actually kill her, it would just make her go comatose until true love's kiss came to her. After Snow White took the apple from the old crone, she took a bite and instantly fell down dead. The woodland animals saw this and ran to tell the dwarves that something had happened. Of course the dwarves understood what the animals were telling them, so they rushed to the cottage where they found Snow White and the queen. They chased the queen up a mountain, but she was struck by lightning and fell to her death before the dwarves got a chance to get their revenge. So the dwarves rushed home to their precious maid, Snow White. They refused to bury her, so instead they put her corpse into a glass casket in the middle of the woods. After many seasons passed, a prince came upon Snow White's body. He found the dead chick to just be so beautiful, despite the fact that she'd been dead in a coffin for many seasons. He just opened that sucker right up and planted a fat one on Snow White. Unsurprisingly, she woke up, fell in love with the stranger, and rode off into the sunset with him to live happily ever after. The end.